If you have ever neglected a long duration spell and realized your original tension had weakened since the initial working, you're not alone. Sustaining the clear, sharp mental image or emotional state that is necessary to bring your spell to fruition requires significant, uninterrupted effort. Mundane life often gets in the way of our magical lives, causing a disruption in both focus and energy management. But does that mean the spell won't work? Or will it need to be started over again? Can a new intention be added? Or can the original spell be modified to address current magical needs that may have changed since the original working? In this video, I will show how I revive an abandoned spell from 2 years ago, consider its original intent, and modify it based on my current needs. I will outline the steps I will follow and why I chose them, and identify any additional materials included in the revived spell. As this working is meant to be performed throughout an entire moon cycle, from new moon to new moon, I will share the intended actions I will take during each moon phase to bring this spell to fruition. Greetings. Welcome to Crone House. The good man and I recently underwent a big clean out organization of this room. In the middle of it, we located what were the remnants of an old spell that I had cast. I meant it to be a healing spell for myself, and I did film a little bit about that. I showed you the setup for it during the introduction of this video. That's what you were looking at. You might have remembered that from the original video where I talked about it, which I will link that video below if you wish. It was meant to be a spell for myself to do some physical healing. If you have been following me, you know that my husband had a massive health scare at that same time. Following that very closely after that, when I said the spell, he had a third cancer that happened to him, which was his most serious and most frightening yet, and it took quite a few months for him to go through the treatment and heal. And I will happily say he's doing really well right now, so we're really grateful for that. But in the middle of all that, I realized that it was not the time for my focus to be on myself. It was the time for me to be my focus to be on him and his health, not mine. And so that spell was abandoned. It just was left. It was left untouched. And I want to explain that this was a long duration spell. It was a spell that I meant to complete from one new moon to the following new moon, an entire moon cycle. And so it needed my attention every day. I needed to feed it. I needed to complete certain tasks in order for that spell to come to fruition. Eventually, since I had abandoned it, it just got moved out of the way, stuck in a box somewhere, and that was that. Until recently, when we found it, and I looked at that and I said, this is a shame. This is a real shame. The spell itself was cast, and I want to show you. It was cast using this blue skull candle that I first of all made it myself, and I had a video showing you how I made it. And during the spell, I had carved all my intentions for the spell into the skull. I had spoken my intentions into the ears of the candle, and I put a lot of effort into it. My intention was very strong. And I thought that was really a shame, and it was kind of a waste of time. I thought, can I do something to save the spell? Should I save this? What should I do with this? I didn't want to get rid of it. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So I decided to revive it in some way. I decided to change it, the intention in some way. Now, I did not think the physical healing was what I was needing at this time. I do need physical healing, don't most of us do. I could use some because I am, in my 70s and I have some typical health issues of someone in their 70s. But I felt that my intention at this time did not match the intention of the original candle. It didn't really match. I was looking for a physical healing in the original spell, and now I was looking at maybe a spiritual healing. I've been experiencing some depression and uncertainty and anxieties and things that are not typical of me, really, to a pretty good extent. So I thought, I really could use it. I could really use some healing. I really needed some healing. And I thought, can I use this candle to do it? So the first thing I did was examine the purpose of the original spell, which I just said was healing. And then I said, why was it stopped? And that's really important because if it was stopped because maybe it wasn't working, or if it was stopped because maybe, the intention was not strong or the goals were not realistic, that's one thing. And if that would have been the case, I would have been happy to probably just abandon it. Maybe I would melt this candle down, melt the wax down, and reuse the wax in another way, which I do from time to time. But I thought, no, this was really, the intentions are good, but they're just not what I would need right now. So what I did was, and you might notice if you saw the original video, or you could see from in the beginning of this video, I melted wax over the surface of this candle, and to cover up the carved intentions that were there. Not to erase them. I didn't erase them. I just covered them up. They're still there. They're still within, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm really happy for that. But I'm adding intention to that. I'm adding more to it. So I'm protecting it with a layer of wax, my original intention, and now I want to add new intention to this candle in order to bring spiritual healing as well as perhaps some of the physical healing that was already in here. So I thought they really went together. It's an all-purpose healing candle at this point for me. With the most of the effort being put on my spiritual health, because I feel I'm not able to, it's not really effective to try to heal myself physically. If I'm a mess inside, if I'm depressed or if I'm anxious, it's not going to help my health. So they go together, but right now my emphasis is going to be on my mental health. I hope it makes sense, and it's personal. I sometimes don't want to show you my personal information, but I think it's important in this case so you understand what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. So there are some steps that I want to follow that will ensure that this will come to fruition the way I want it to, and I thought you might like to share those steps with me. So that's why I'm doing this video. Okay, so there's some things I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you step by step what I'm going to do to bring a new spell or a revived spell into fruition. As always, anytime we want to put a spell out, we have to make sure we cleanse the space. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today, because even though you all know how to cleanse the space, I want to tell you what I'm going to do differently. Normally, I would probably just use sage. I have a lot of sage. I grow sage, and I have a lot of it, and this is really good for all-purpose cleansing. But the thing about sage is it's sometimes referred to as the energetic eraser, because it clears all the energy, both negative energy and neutral energy. Okay, and I don't really want to clear all the energy because I want to use a spell that was in place before. I wanted to I don't want to start with a blank slate. I'm going to modify my slate rather than be blank. Okay, but I do need to cleanse it, so I'm going to choose to use Palo Santo today rather than sage. And Palo Santo is really good because Palo Santo, it cleanses negative energy, surely, just like sage does, but it invites positivity. It invites calmness back into the space, and that's exactly what I want, especially after the chaos that was in this space. So I'm going to try a little bit. I've got fans running today, so And I will repeat this if I can. I'll repeat this cleansing again when I'm ready to do the spell in about a week, a little less than a week. And I'm just going to make sure I cleanse everything in my space. I'm going to cleanse where my my spell is going to sit. And as a matter of fact, I think I will do that now, because I'm going to put the candle. This is where the bed is going to be for the candle. Right there. I want to make sure I cleanse this whole area. And when I do it, I'm going to cleanse all around. I'm going to cleanse my hands, my arms. I'm going to cleanse myself. Now this is just for the video, but I'm going to do it without the fan on. You can see it's burning, but it's a little bit struggling with the fan blowing on. I've got actually 2 fans blowing on here today. It's very hot. But anyway, I will cleanse the space very thoroughly with Palo Santo. Okay. And then I'm also going to cleanse it with my singing bowl. Okay, because the vibrations of the bowl are really good for cleansing, breaking up anything chaotic from here. And we're going to bring it back into, a very calm area for my spell. Okay. Okay, I will be gathering some other ingredients as we get closer to the actual spell on the new moon, but I want to show you some of the things I'm going to be using. By the way, once I have cleansed this area, I'm going to keep this a selenite tower here to keep any new negative energy away. So any other, chaos or any other kind of conflict energy, it's going to help with that. I'm going to be using black cat oil because I had black cat oil originally on the, I used black cat oil originally on the skull scandal. So I will be, of course, oiling my candle. I will be using dragon's blood incense. Dragon's blood is already in the oil, and it increases or revives any potency that I'm trying to do. So that's going to be here. I guess I can just keep it right there for now. It's okay. I also have one more thing before I show you. I have a black candle, which I always use a black candle in the area. Don't need that here right now. I wonder if you have dog hair stuck to your candles, like I do. One other thing that's really important for me is I have a box here where I'm going to, I keep little papers, and I love these little, I think I'll use yellow. These little Post-it papers. I think I've showed you that before. I'm going to be writing daily intentions for this spell. Daily intentions. And so I just use these tiny little Post-its that I can write on and burn. So of course I will have a cauldron. I will have a cauldron for burning, etc. Okay. There's a couple other things I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to go move away from this table so I can do that better. I'm going to be adding some crystals to my spell table from time to time. Maybe not all the time, but from time to time, depending on what I'm doing that day with it. I have certain things here on the table that, on my reading table here, that I might use, that are some of my favorites for some of the same reasons that I'm wanting to use them in the spell, that I could maybe share. First of all, I have a clear quartz that I always keep here. Clear quartz is called a master healer because it amplifies all your intentions, whatever intentions you have, and it clears any kind of blockages that you might have. And I use that here on my reading table all the time for that purpose. I also have here amethyst. This is a raw amethyst. It has not been polished, but I love it. I got this at Quartzsite during a trip I took with the Moon Mother, actually, if you remember her. But anyway, this is going to help promote spiritual awareness, and it's really good for relieving stress, any kind of stress. And I just really love it. It's really good. There's other properties for it, but in this case, it will help with the spell for calming. It'll help me, be calm, make sure that I'm staying calm, and not, when I sit down to do my daily feeding or daily intentions, whatever I'm going to be doing with the spell, I don't want the distractions of what's been going on the rest of the day to interfere. And this is going to help with some of that. And the other thing that will help to with some of that is obsidian. This is actually snowflake obsidian, which is my favorite kind of obsidian. Regular obsidian doesn't really resonate with me too well for some reason, I don't know why. But snowflake obsidian does. And it still has the same properties because it is obsidian. And there's a lot of healing properties. It can help you feel safe in your environment, in your own body, and in the physical world. So it's really a really lovely, comforting stone that I use all the time, and I incorporate it on a lot of my bracelets. You might have seen me in the past wearing bracelets that have that. I'm not sure if I have any right here with me or not, but I've incorporated it into a lot of my bracelets that I wear on a regular basis. Okay. And speaking of bracelets, the bracelets that I wear all the time that you see me wear, I'll put them on now. This is actually moss agate, and this is a lovely stone for grounding. And I use it. I wear them all the time. I wear one on each wrist to keep myself in balance. I also have on each, in the center, a rose quartz, which rose quartz is really lovely for relieving stress. It opens your heart for positive energies. Oh, and those are going to be really good help for me during this time. Now, the only thing, I want to say one thing about intentions. Even though the spell is going to last for 30 days, 28 days, from one new moon to the next new moon, it may be tempting to add a lot of intentions. To write down a whole lot of intentions, like have a different intention every day. That's not the point. The point is to have maybe just a few intentions. And this is true of any spell. You don't want to overdo it with intentions. If you have a lot of intentions, you need a lot of spells because if you have too many, they're going to kind of compete with each other, sort of water each other down, take the effectiveness from one to another. Okay, so when I'm writing my intentions on those papers, I will be probably repeating my, maybe one or two or maybe even three at the most intentions. I'm going to be writing them on there to renew it every day, to make sure I'm renewing it every day. Okay. So I can modify it a little bit, but it's wouldn't be the same intention. Because then, it having to do with my spiritual healing. Okay. Now, what other tool? I'm going to use one other tool that I want to share with you that I'm really excited about. And you've seen me use tarot with spell work before, but I'm not a big oracle deck person. I do use oracle decks, but not as much as some people do. But I have this oracle deck, which I thought was really fun because this is the Queen of the Moon Oracle, and the cards in here, actually there's cards for new moons and different kinds of moons, but it does have, first of all, 28 cards. The first 28 cards have to do with the moon cycle, okay? It has to do with the moon cycle. And it starts out with the void, the dark moon, and then it goes to new beginnings with the new moon. It has realization with the waxing crescent on the third day of the cycle, and it continues on. It continues on, and then there's a little book. Of course, there's a book that tells you, has a little something to spin off a meditation, or just a some kind of a reflection of some kind on that day that goes with the card. So every day I'm going to be pulling, while I do my intention, I'm also going to be pulling the corresponding card, okay? So that, and reading what it says about it in the little book, okay? But there's sort of some things that go along with this. When you look at the cycle of the moon, we're talking about starting with the new moon, and the first week, the first 7 days of the moon, of the cycle, are what is called the waxing crescent. The moon is starting from nothing, from hardly a sliver, just turns into a sliver. It grows and grows and grows and grows, and it's until it, and this is a time to take inspired action toward whatever your goals are. Okay. It says, and the idea is, if you take your intentions, you take action towards your goals, the universe is going to match your goals. You're going to meet you halfway. The universe, you need to do something, and then the universe will help you. Will meet you and work with you. Okay. So, the first 7 days of this are going to be actual actions. What am I going to do? And so when I have my intentions written down, what are the kind of things that I'm going to do towards my goals? If I'm talking about being anxious, maybe I will do meditation. If I'm talking about being overwhelmed, maybe I'm going to talk about, removing something from my attention that does not need my immediate attention. Just focusing on one thing at a time, perhaps. Okay? Little steps. I don't know what I was talking about because I got interrupted. But what I want to say is the first 7 days of the cycle is the time where we are going to take action. It's the action time. It's the very, very beginning, and the very beginning is very important in any project. It is the foundation for going forward, okay? So, and any action that we take towards our own goals, the universe is going to help us, and help us, like assist us, match us, like support us. The universe will support our actions. We're not going to just sit back and let it happen. We're not going to just sit back and let the universe take care of what we want. We're going to take actions, and then the universe will meet us halfway. Okay. So that's the first week. Little steps toward what do we want and what do we want to do and how are we going to get there. Little step every day, little step every day. Now the second week, days 8 to 14, and the first quarter to the waxing gibbous, is pushing through any kind of obstacles. This is the time when you're halfway to the full moon. You're halfway to that, and you're working towards. You're coming up on the full moon now. This is the time leading up to the full moon, where this is where obstacles tend to get in the way. So this is the time to push through those obstacles. Stay committed, and this is why doing something every day is very, very important, okay? And if an obstacle comes along, take an action to get rid of the obstacle. What is worrying you? Is it something that is really, that's going to keep you from your goals? Is there something coming up that's worrying you? Deal with that one thing. Just deal with the one thing. Get rid of it. Get it out of your mind. Take some kind of an action to make it go away so that you can stay focused. Now, the full moon is very important, yes. But the full moon is a little bit overrated. People go, when I get to the full moon, yay, I'm going to harvest everything. Everything's going to manifest. Okay, well, yes, some things are going to manifest. Some things will manifest. And that's really good. And it's time to celebrate what has been manifested But the most important part that people forget is you need to then adjust your intentions. You need to release what did not manifest. You can't just hold on to those same intentions. Even though we're only halfway to our goal, halfway to the next new moon, we want to get rid of that old stuff that did not work out. We want to release what did not manifest to make room for the next new moon. Okay? So this is a good time. We celebrate, yes, we're going to attend. We're going to change our intentions. And very finally, as the moon wanes through from day 16 to the 28th, we're going to let go of any attachment to the outcomes. Trust that whatever's meant for you to happen will happen. You got to trust the universe. We say that all the time. Trust the universe. Okay, and this is just as important and very important in this kind of a spell. I'm a little bit afraid that some of what I was talking about with the working with the Queen of the Moon Oracle deck and the moon cycle from new moon to new moon might be a little confusing to you. So, but it's a month long, and I hope that I will check back with you. Maybe doing some of my other videos, I will just, if it's appropriate, I will come in and explain some of the things I'm doing. I'll try to keep you a little bit abreast of what I'm doing with this spell, so that you, in case you ever want to do something like this again, I can maybe model to you how I'm doing it. It's complicated to try to talk to you in a video right now about what I'm going to be doing over the next, 30 days. That's a little bit much. So, but I wanted to tell you that spells are living. They're organic, if I want to say. It's not just lighting a candle and having some crystals sitting on the table and letting the spell do the work. You need to be a part of it, and this is a really good exercise for me to remind me how to become part of a spell that is a long time. It took me 70 years to get as screwed up as I am right now. So it's good. So I have 30 days. I can devote myself to 30 days to try to unscrew my brain a little bit. See if I can help myself a little bit. Okay. So I'm willing to do the work. I just wanted to share with you. The idea is you don't have to abandon something, the spell that you started and left behind and never finished. If it's an authentic spell, something that you really, really meant and the intention was there, and it just, for whatever reason, wasn't able to complete it, don't think that you can't do it again. Don't think that you can't, just cleanse your candles or again or whatever, and go forward from there, or change your intention a little bit. Our intentions do change over time, and that's okay. They're supposed to. All right. Thank you for coming today, and I hope this wasn't too confusing. Hope it was okay. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.